scary. Give it just one moment and we'll get the microphone on. There we go. Welcome to Landmark's New Art Theater for tonight's screening of Wes Craven's The Hills Have Eyes. Presented by Landmark Theater and the Shriekfest Horror Film Festival. A few simple announcements before we get the show started tonight. First of all, if you're parked in the parking lot that is right off Sawtell to the side that says they ticket after 2 a.m., be aware they do ticket after 2 a.m. Right at 2 a.m. they will ticket. Just make sure if you're here past then to move your car to a street spot before then. Also, in the event of a fire, emergency, or invasion of mutant cannibals, please be aware of the emergency exits beside me on the right and left. You can also use the exits you enter the theater through. Also, when the film starts, we do ask that you please silence your cell phones because there is no reception out in this desert. Okay, so first of all, I want to tell you about the Shriekfest Horror Film Festival. This festival is in its 18th year. It's Los Angeles' longest running horror film festival. And the 18th edition starts first weekend of October. On Thursday, October 4th is the Shriekfest opening night party at Bordner's in Hollywood, followed by 3 days of nonstop screenings at Raleigh Studios in Hollywood. So please check us out. This is the future of horror. It's you guys out there submitting your work, and check it out. I've been a part of Shriekfest since their second year when they premiered my first short film here in Los Angeles, and I've been submitting to them, and I'm on the board and one of their DJs, and very happy to be a part of the Shriekfest Presents. I always thank them for helping us put these shows on. Now, I do want to tell you, we do have 2 more Shriekfest Presents shows coming before the end of the year. One of them we have already announced, and that is Zombie, the 4K restoration of the Uncut Zombie on Friday, October 19th, so please come here for that. That's going to be a lot of good, gory fun. And you're also the very first audience I'm going to tell about this next, the final Shriekfest Presents of the year. Please mark your calendars now. We almost had new postcards here tonight, but they just didn't get here on time. On Monday, we will have postcards for the next 2 Shriekfest Presents here, available for free in our lobby. And I believe the tickets for the final Shriekfest Presents will happen or go online within the next week or so. So please check the Shriekfest site and the Facebook and social media pages. I'm going to tell you all now, it is another Wes Craven film. On 35mm. On Friday, November 19th, we are bringing you Wes Craven's New Nightmare. On 35mm, we will have the producers here, Marianne Madalena and Jeffrey Fenner. Some of you may remember they were here for our very first Shriekfest Presents screening of The People Under the Stairs last year. Oh, by the way, star Heather Langenkamp will be here joining our Q&A. So please keep your eyes on that. Tickets, again, will be going on sale very soon, and I expect they will go fast. So we're very excited to keep bringing Wes Craven to you here as much as possible. Now, we do these trivia and giveaways before all these shows, as our regulars here know. I have a few questions for you guys tonight. Raise your hand if you know the answer. And we got a few really, really cool prizes, but I'm not going to tell you what they are until we start. So let me get to the questions. Okay, these are for you super fans. You guys are the Hills Have Eyes and Wes Craven super fans, so hopefully you guys know this. Who can tell me all 4 films that Michael Berryman made with Wes Craven? He made 4 films with Wes Craven. Okay, so I'll give you a clue, just for the future. Follow the event page on Facebook. All of the answers are usually given away in advance. I'll tell you the answer now. The Hills Have Eyes, The Hills Have Eyes Part 2, Deadly Blessings, and Invitation to Hell. So he did 4 films with Wes. Okay, so here's another question. Raise your hand if you know the answer. Okay, Wes Craven, well, people usually assume that The Hills Have Eyes is Wes Craven's second feature film. It is not. After The Last House on the Left, he directed a porn film. Does anybody know the name of that film? I see a hand back there on the aisle.
Fireworks Woman?
The Fireworks Woman is correct. Please come up. Wes Craven directed, and I believe he co-wrote and also appears in this film. It is super rare and hard to find. I'm a Wes Craven completist. If anybody out there has a copy, please let me know. I would love to see this film. Okay, for you, let's see what we have. We have a signed Hills Have Eyes postcard by our guest. We're signed by Suze Lanier, as she's credited on the film. Let's see what else we have for you. 2 VIP passes to the New Art Theater. Please use these for one of our future upcoming midnights. You can use them for Zombie, a Shriekfest Presents, even New Nightmare, but you have to bring them in and get them in person to do that. Thank you. All right, so I've got 2 more questions for you guys, and let me tell you what you're going to get this time. You're going to get another signed postcard from our star tonight, but we're also going to give out 2 free full festival passes to this year's Shriekfest. These are $120 value. You can see any program, any film program, as many as you want during the whole festival this year. If you know the answer to these questions, you can also get into the opening night party at Bordner's for free. You can go to the closing night awards ceremony. So hopefully you know the answers to these questions. Okay, producer of The Hills Have Eyes, Peter Locke, plays one of the mutant cannibals in this movie. Who knows which character he plays? I see the orange shirt toward the back.
Mercury.
Mercury is correct. Please come up. So we're going to do this a little different. I don't have a physical pass to give out to you, but I'm going to have you write down your name and your email address, and we will get the information to you so you can attend anything at the Shriekfest Film Festival. Here's your autographed postcard.
And just write it down.
Yeah, and if you can give me your information there,
Okay.
we'll make sure you get into Shriekfest for free.
Just email instead?
Email in your name, please. Okay, and I'll go on to the final question. This is really for you Hills Have Eyes superfans, because I did not post this one purposely on the event page. Who knows the film's original script title for The Hills Have Eyes? It was not The Hills Have Eyes.
I know it.
You'll get into Shriekfest free anyway. Anybody know the title to The Hills Have Eyes? The original title. Okay, another one. I'll tell you. It's called Blood Relations.
I have the script.
Was the original title. I believe that was Wes's title. I also heard that Peter Locke was not so happy with that, although I do not know if he was the one who came up with The Hills Have Eyes. Okay, we'll do one more. We'll do an alternate question. Who can name one of the Shriekfest Presents screenings from this year? We've done 4 of them already this year. Who can name any one of the Shriekfest Presents this year? Can be anybody. I see all the way in the back.
Was it the Babadook?
The Babadook was Cinephile Presents. Our neighbors next door, Cinephile Video. Check them out. They also have a great Wes Craven section. And yet, okay, how about a Shriekfest? Okay, I see a hand over there.
Friday the 13th?
Close enough. Friday the 13th, Part 2 was one of our Shriekfest Presents this year. Please come up, and we will welcome you to Shriekfest this year. All right, here's your signed postcard. And if you want to write down your name and email, we'll get you into Shriekfest this year. All right, thank you so much. Now, before we get the film started, let's finally get to our special guest of the evening. Let me introduce the lead actor, or first build, of The Hills Have Eyes, Suze Lanier-Bramlett, also credited in the film as Suze Lanier.
I used to run through that desert. Now I have to be careful.
Thank you. Thank you guys for coming out. This is cool. Well, it was 50 years ago, just about? It's pretty weird. Anyway, 1977, so it's when we did The Hills Have Eyes. I have the original Blood Relations script in a library, so that's kind of nice. Ask away.
Yeah, I'll start with a few questions for you, and then we'll open it up to audience questions.
By the way, I want to say, I talked to Michael Behrman last night for about an hour and a half on the phone. He wanted to say hi to everybody. We're very good friends. He's like a brother. And we spend holidays together sometimes, and he wished he could be here. He doesn't live near LA, too close anymore. So anyway, he just said hi.
I also believe this week was his 70th birthday.
That's right.
Wow.
We also got our blessings tonight, and we almost had as another second guest for you guys, Peter Locke, the producer of the film. Unfortunately, he was not able to make it, but he also sends his best wishes to everybody here as well. So, Susie, first I want to ask you, you worked with Wes early in your career. It was also early in Wes's career.
Right.
He, was known for The Last House on the Left. I'm curious, working with him at that early stage of his career, did you see what would become the greatness of Wes Craven? Like, because he became such a force, and he reshaped our modern horror film. But I'm curious, at that stage, in the gritty early days, was that something that you saw?
Well, honestly, no. And the reason I say that is that horror in 1977 was sort of, don't do that, it'll ruin your career. And I had a very strong comedy career at that time on television, and worked with some great directors and Norman Lear and different people like that. And so my agent really didn't want me to do The Hills Have Eyes, and he said, it'll ruin you. And I went, I don't care, I want to do this movie, I really like horror. And so I did it anyway, and at the time Wes was just starting off. And what was really about, when I met with him and he asked me to do the lead, I was kind of a face that was recognizable at the time. He was so kind. And so he was just so sweet and down to earth. And I said, oh yeah, I'm working with him. So I didn't at that time see the greatness, and nobody anticipated The Hills Have Eyes to have legs like it's had. Nobody. So we just thought we were doing a cheap-ass horror movie, and that was it, So,
Have you actually seen The Last House on the Left?
no.
Maybe that's for the better.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sure by then it was better that I hadn't seen it.
Is there anything you'd like to tell us just about, like, this film was filmed, like, you can tell how gritty and difficult it was.
It was 16 millimeter. It was a really low budget. I had done a couple of movies before, but not in Hollywood, in New York and Texas. And so I just wanted to do a movie that was shot in LA, because I'd done so many TV shows. So, it was low budget. We were out in the desert, and it was, you can see in the movie how ratty it is. I was covered in bruises at the end of almost every day. So it was primitive.
Yeah, anyone who's shot on location just knows, you can watch this movie and you just realize it's just...
Yeah, I just did a movie
so difficult.
last week in the desert, and it's hard to shoot in the desert with the sand and the wind and everything. It's terrible. So everybody thinks acting is easy. It's really hard, physically.
I like the fact that in this film you are first billed. And I'll say that Wes Craven was really good, and
Can you pinch your microphone or something?
actually I'm going to trade it. I think I have a replacement.
Try talking without it.
You can borrow mine and hand it back to me.
We got plenty more.
Okay, we have plenty.
All right, we'll give this one a shot. So, you do survive this film, spoiler alert, and you are a final girl of sorts. Although Wes Craven he didn't follow the final girl formula. Well, he actually came kind of before that, was really established with Halloween. But, he has multiple people survive, but luckily, many women in his films do survive. You are the final girl, to a degree, in this one. Although Katie, we could say is as well. He had a modern approach. Even at that time, Carpenter's films had men coming in to save the day for the women and stuff, and yet you really get to fight back.
Right.
Was this something that was just noticeable to you at the time? Did it seem like he was kind of moving in a more modern edge, or was that just something we all kind of noticed later on.
Yeah, in the 70s, in the 70s, the heroes were usually the men, and that's one of the things that I loved about the script is that Brenda kind of saves the day at the end, and that was really cool for me. And I've always been a feminist, so it was really great to play the one that survived. It's a survival movie, and so.
Yeah, there's something really primal about watching you fight back in this film. You really stand out as a fighter. I really root and cheer for your survival in this, and it's just something that I.
Well, I also love playing the brat. She's very bratty, and so
Some people also say you have one of the best screams.
Yes, I've won a lot of screaming awards. That's why I'm hoarse tonight. No, I'm kidding. But no, I have actually. I was on a list of one of the top 10 or 20 best screamers. So
absolutely, and
yeah.
I'm not going to ask you to do it again tonight,
No.
but you will all hear it tonight on this restored version of The Hills Have Eyes. You'll probably hear the
Over
scream
and
better
over.
than we've ever heard it before. It would probably break windows.
Yeah.
I want to point out a few things about Suze. I've known Suze for a few years now through Shriekfest, and I follow her online, and she is a really interesting and fascinating individual to follow. Along the lines of The Final Girl, I notice in real life you are very outspoken. You're outspoken in politics,
Yeah.
in a lot of areas where I see you as still a final girl fighting for us all. You are not afraid to speak truth to power. I see you as this continued fighter. And I just want to point that out. If you kind of follow Suze, I love the fact that in a way, she is fighting the Jupiters and the savages that are causing problems today. So, I do want to point that out for those who are politically minded like that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I just want to say that.
It's my honor. We have to peace, baby. We have to fight for what's right, and I always have. I've always been a feminist. I worked for Gloria Steinem in New York when I was very young, and marched a lot of marches for, racial equality, as well as female equality, and I think these issues are very, very important. So I'm very verbal. On my Twitter, please follow me, Suze Lanier-Bramlett, the name is right there, and my Facebook.
Thank you. Thank you. I also want to point out, just for those who are interested, Suze is also a great singer, and you can find her on YouTube, and you can listen to her, some of her performances, and watch some of her music videos, including
Watch What You Ask For.
Yeah, with Michael Berryman.
Starring Michael Berryman and me, and it's on YouTube, and it's called Watch What You Ask For. I wrote the song, the music, and the words, and you just might get it. And Michael gives it to me in the music video on YouTube, and we only shot that a couple of years ago, so you get to see us playing, working together now, 40 years later. So.
Yeah, and I think Brooke Lewis is also.
Brooke Lewis
and that
is
was
in
another friend of Shriekfest. Michael
Yeah.
Berryman is also a friend of Shriekfest, which is, again, we really wish we could have had him here, but he's been at the festival before and the opening night party, as have you, so I'm glad that we're all a part of that Shriekfest
We're
family.
in the same club, baby.
Yeah, for sure. So definitely check her out. Check out her music as well. It's really cool. I really like Facebook and so many others. She sings about peace, Woodstock, so many cool things. And before I open it up to the audience, I do want to ask you one more thing. And that's, what have you been working on film-wise now? Because I know you've been busy.
Well, there's a couple of filmmakers in the audience. I just worked with Jason Koch and Kaylee Brown. Kaylee's a producer, Jason's a director. Jason, they both just produced Pigpen, and I think you can buy that on Amazon or whatever, yeah. And so we just did 2 films together. Jason is a great horror director. So I love working with young people, and I get to play the older parts now, so it's really cool to keep working and, still in the game. I like horror and comedy, so, and I think it's kind of the same in a way, so, yeah.
They both get very verbal reactions.
Yeah.
This movie tonight will get a lot of verbal reactions. I am just curious to ask, raise your hand if you've seen the film before.
Oh, wow.
So a lot of you, and I also see a lot of you haven't. You are in for a really gut-wrenching, nerve-shredding experience tonight. This is Wes Craven before his very popular films of the 90s. This is pre-Nightmare on Elm Street. West was as rough as it gets.
Well, it's been put in the Museum of Modern Art as the greatest terror classic ever made. And it's won all kinds of awards along those lines. And it was one of the first real rape scenes. That was, it was very controversial when it came out. So there were some cities that wouldn't play it, so, because of that. So.
We play a lot of movies like that here.
I'm sure. Today it's nothing, it's like kindergarten, you know, but back then it was something.
So does anybody out there have any questions for Susie? Yeah, right there.
Hi, Susie.
Hi.
Jake Sonny again.
Hi,
I wanted to ask you, now if I remember correctly in the movie, another one of the actresses is Dee Wallace.
Yes.
Now, I understand her character is like a teen mom in this, right?
Early 20s mom.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, she's young, but what I want to ask you was, how did it feel co-starring with an actress who had eventually gone to get like big roles as the role of a mom, like in E.T. and Cujo? How did it feel working with her?
Well, first of all, she had not had those roles. She was unknown and at the time, and so Dee and I are very good friends. So I'm very happy for her success, and I branched off into other things too. Just acting wasn't enough for me. You know, I need to be doing things all the time, and I hate that you have to wait for parts. Dee and I have done 2 films together since The Hills Have Eyes that you will never have heard of. They were kind of low budget stuff. I don't even know if they were released, but we're neighbors, and so we hang out. So I'm very happy for her success.
Like, she was amazing in E.T. as the mom.
She was amazing. She's a wonderful actress, and we were very good friends on location. You know, we worked out in the gym at the crappy hotel, and you know, all kinds of stuff.
I'm glad to hear that you're still sisters of sorts.
Yeah,
After all these
yeah,
years. That's
yeah,
great to
yeah.
hear.
And I just did a film called, I don't know if any of you have seen it. It's a wonderful horror movie called Cut, C-U-T. Have you seen that?
Yes.
I'm in that, and Dee's daughter. I play a horror filmmaker, and Dee's daughter, Gabrielle, is my star. So we just did that a couple of years ago. So that's a recent horror movie. It's very scary. So if you get a chance to see Cut, C-U-T, you'll love it. I mean, it's you can't go to the bathroom, because if you miss 1 second of it, then you'll lose you'll get lost.
Check next door at Cinephile Video, and if they don't have it, recommend they get it.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Yes.
You mentioned Norman Lear, you worked with Norman Lear. It must have been a classic show, so what did you actually do?
I was on All in the Family, but I was John Travolta's girlfriend on Welcome Back, Kotter. I did all those sitcoms, Happy Days, Welcome Back, you know, a lot of the Eight is Enough, all those 70s shows. So I met Norman Lear in his office to actually replace Sally Struthers when she was going to leave All in the Family because she wanted more money. And so when he told her he had a replacement, she came running back and worked for the money they offered her. So it's a Hollywood game.
Was Three's Company another one?
Yeah, I was the first Chrissy on Three's Company. So
On the pilot.
the pilot. And so there are a couple of tidbits you can look for in this film that maybe nobody's ever told you about it. My mom, who was played by Virginia Vincent, in the scene, for those of you who've seen it, when she gets compromised, or is that going to give away too much if I say she gets?
I think it's fine.
When she gets shot, the producers didn't want to pay for real pro stunt people, so this is kind of gross. But I thought when you're seeing the movie, you have some inside scoop that nobody really knows. We were on the set, and so they put a squib, which is the fake blood, right here. It goes off by battery, and so nobody had told, Virginia was older, and she played my mom, and nobody told her to wear a bra. So, when she shot, the squib goes off and she goes, and it actually blew it off. And they had to rush her to the hospital. And she never worked another day on the show. She was done. But that's the take that you'll see in this film. They were kind of cheap, let's say. So anyway, it couldn't be reshot, of course, and so they had to take care of her health issues forever. So anyway.
As if that scene isn't harrowing enough.
So when you're gonna see it, you're gonna go, oh my God, they really did it. So that's an inside scoop tidbit. And I thought if you come out at midnight to watch this movie, you might as well have a little inside scoop on it. Any other questions? Shall we watch the movie?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Thank you for coming. Thank you.
Thank you again. There's just a moment to clear the stage.
And he's amazing. And he does an amazing job of